Hi, it's Craig Freshley here with another good group tip. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about ground rules. I am here in a meeting room about to start a meeting with a group of people. For each meeting that I facilitate, I make a specific list of ground rules that are tailored to that particular group. Actually, at my website is a long list of ground rules in the handout section, and I look at that as a menu from which to choose specific ground rules for specific meetings, depending on what we want to achieve and the nature of the group. So let me demonstrate for you how in just a few minutes, when there's people around this table, I am going to explain today's ground rules. Okay, everybody, before we get started, I'd like to review some ground rules with you. These are just some things to keep in mind for us to have a really productive and inclusive meeting today. Of course, I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. You've heard these sorts of things before, but it's always a good reminder to help us have a good meeting. First of all, we want to hear from everyone. Of course, that's why we're having a meeting. That's the magic of meetings. And I'm asking that you let me call on people. Even though we're a small group, raise a hand or get some indication from me that you're next. In this way, we can be sure and make room for everyone. If I see two hands go up at the same time, I'm going to call on the person that we haven't heard as much from, because we want to make sure that we hear all the views. Let's assume best intentions in each other. We have different perspectives, we may have different approaches, but let's start from a place of assuming that we all want good things and the best things for the group as a whole. Let's focus on behaviors and roles. In other words, don't make things personal, don't take things personally. It's okay to critique ideas. It's okay to critique behaviors. It's not okay to critique people personally. In other words, I have a hard time with that thing that you did. It doesn't mean I think you are a bad person. And let's remember that we're always talking about people in specific roles. I might behave a certain way in one role, but very differently in another role. Another way to think of this is separate personalities from behaviors. Third, speak for yourself. You're always on solid ground if you speak for yourself. Use I statements, begin sentences with I see, I feel, rather than you said, you should, or he should. Starting a sentence in those ways is a setup for conflict. Starting a sentence with I see or feel sort of immunes you from criticism and future conflict. No one can argue with what you feel. So if you speak for yourself, you're on solid ground. Name issues. Stuff is going to come up today. We have some disagreements. There are tensions. Step one in conflict resolution is always naming the issue without judgment. It's not that you're wrong and you're right, or you're bad and you're good. It's just you see it one way and you see it another way. I would say, speaking for myself, I would say, okay, it looks to me like Sally has this perspective and Janet has this perspective. Sally and Janet appear to disagree. And name that issue. Doesn't mean we're going to resolve every issue today, but at least let's not ignore them or pretend that issues don't exist. Forward, positive outlook. I'm asking people today to think what's best for the future. Of course, we're going to talk about the past. We're going to tell some stories about what happened. We have to do that in order to learn the best we can from our past. But our purpose is not to blame or find fault. If we look at the past, that's okay, but the only reason for doing so is how to make the future better. The most important question is, how should we make things better going forward. No final decisions today. This gives us the freedom to disagree with each other, to talk freely, and we'll see if we come to some general conclusions, but final decisions are to be made later via a different decision-making structure. And as always, my role is your neutral facilitator, and I will also be preparing a report of today's meeting from a neutral perspective. I am here to serve the group as a whole.